And hello! We return for a new episode of Comic Town Hall. I am Victor.
I am Ryan.
And I am Tim.
And Shelby.
We're trying to be good and not bang on the table here because we're using a new sound device. So if somebody does it, they owe Shelby a quarter. We're also going to probably institute a swear jar for Ryan because we're trying to raise money for the earthquake in Nepal, and he's going to cuss a lot. So
more than usual.
he's got some feels this week, and I almost want to jump right into that. But first, let me say that, gentlemen, we are mere hours away from Age of Ultron.
Yes.
It is coming. It is looming. I am so excited. It's real. I feel it.
Just a mere 36 hours away.
We sound like evil villains.
I'm not counting down.
You're not counting down or nothing. I'm just saying. I mean,
tomorrow's a good day.
Tomorrow is a good day, man.
Yeah, sneak peeks start tomorrow, and then midnight
is the
Thursday
real.
is the legit. We're going to get this going.
Yeah. So definitely, if you guys get a chance, head down to the Gateway Film Center for the Geek Sneak. Comic Town will be on hand with free books. That's crazy important.
It starts tomorrow at 6.
Oh, 6?
You can't see
early.
me, but I'm disco dancing.
Yeah. Tim is doing it. He's doing it big.
Not only is that, but if you're into sports, the NFL draft is tomorrow.
Oh.
So I can watch the Browns fail for 11th time in a row.
But I mean, and then put some Ultron on it, so you'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Why did they draft Christian Leitner?
Again? It was like wrong sport. Stop it,
Browns.
Stop
You're
it.
so
What
bad.
are you doing? So Ryan, let us. He's actually pulled out change out of his pocket. Like this is legit. So you got some feels this week, sir.
Yeah.
You did very well with not spoiling things on Black, White, and Red yesterday. But today, spoilers, y'all, spoilers.
Yeah.
People in the store, spoilers.
if you have
Just in
not,
case,
yeah.
if you've not
If
read,
you've not read Batman
40 and/or Superman 40, dial away, run away as quickly as possible. Okay, we've said it. I think that's fair. 3, 2, 1, and Ryan, how do you feel, sir?
I felt Batman 40 was fairly organic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the crescendo. Used that word yesterday.
You did. It was a good one.
Really smart.
Wait, can you spell crescendo? Because I can't.
Shit, no.
Okay,
It's
good.
like-
It wasn't okay. It's not just
It's
me.
like croissant with a D. Or something. So it begs that question: how many times can Batman and Joker scrap without?
Without it going there.
Yeah,
And we do mean their people there.
and then Superman, Clark Kent, Superman. Eventually, in this new universe, it makes sense that the X is gonna be that person. But the thing is, if you're gonna have both of those gigantic crossroads happen in two of the most iconic comic book titles ever,
Right?
during the middle of the absolute fucking shitstorm that is Convergence, why not tell somebody? Why not I don't know how they would not tell us with Superman, wink wink, something's going to happen, I'm going to ignore that. But with the Batman,
That's it. Someone's going to die.
Yeah.
Major.
Yeah, you might want to order more.
Right.
Just like Marvel would do something like if you order 200% of something else, you'll get 10% off for the deep stock. That to me is a cue.
Right.
But the thing is, stores are having to micromanage their budgets because of Convergence.
Right.
It's not selling anywhere. Like in the terms of, you would think, a massive line-wide crossover event.
Right.
So we're looking at, I've got X amount to spend. Well, I don't know. I have no frame of reference on these titles, so I have to make sure they're there. Batman, end of a story arc. They're going to collect it in a trade paperback.
Right.
No.
You can go light at the end because the trade is coming, so
Yeah.
it's not really. That's deep.
But then there's something as fucking epic as not just the one but the two.
Yeah.
Biting the dust.
2 for people.
I would go huge.
Right.
I would have doubled my order.
Right. Because this is seemingly this very poignant moment in time that says this happened.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. The end.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
And it makes sense with what were you calling it? Chappie Bat?
Chappie Bat.
Yeah, because when they're showing the Chappie Bat, everyone's like, maybe his back broke again.
Right.
You can't see the hand signal I'm making.
You might have to pay for that one too, dude. That hand signal
that's
was
pretty
bad.
vulgar. You can learn something from my stroke kids.
You went all Ron Jeremy on us just now.
With that though,
Hedgehog.
Oh yeah.
Angry Inch. That's what that is.
But it makes sense, and no longer is it a joke. It's like an actual, like it makes sense that this would happen.
True.
And
Just and just out of curiosity, I looked to see what it's selling on eBay.
Yeah.
The one for 25 variant covers hit $65.
Wow.
The combo version that's not even out until next week,
Right.
$61
Already?
back ordered out of stock at Diamond.
Jeez.
The movie variant with Joker and the Mask,
Right.
which is a brilliant cover, $17, and the regular cover $14 right now.
Wow. So the public is learning what is coming or what has come at this point, and now they're reacting.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently there was a write up in USA Today about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You did say that there was supposed to be one.
But when you tell us after final orders have been done, like, hey guys, we know you got all your orders in, and there's nothing we can do.
We appreciate that.
BTW, it's going to be in USA Today. So it's
The convergent swear jar
Yes,
has arrived.
we've got the swear jar. It's official.
like, how bad at marketing are you?
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here
Okay.
and see if what they are attempting to do is boost the market. Like, okay, so we've had kind of a resurgence of the speculator or investing market, if you will, with the comeback of variant covers. But by having this situation where there is absolutely limited stock because no one knew that this was coming, does that not lead to the return of the truly valuable comic? And how does that fit for you as retailers? Like, if they do, pull something like that and you guys manage to hold on to a handful of books, does that not give leanings to an upping of value for you because now, oh, look, there's only this many, or is that pooch screwed anyway?
It gets into a marketing philosophy. Like, we could immediately have peeled back 10 copies.
Okay.
And just not put them out. But that's 10 people
Who don't get it.
Who don't get it. That maybe, they used to read Batman.
Right.
Now they're curious again. They might not come back. And if you've got a book that is brand new this week, that suddenly is no longer cover price, and it's the regular cover.
Right.
Like, at some point, it just doesn't feel right.
You guys become the assholes at that point.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm putting in on it.
But if there's an extra 10% of copies, more than there are right now,
Right.
in the environment, that's 10% more people that have access to it.
Okay.
You can still do a second print.
It's 10% more people that could end up continuing to read.
Right.
So I feel like the more that are out there, the higher chance of more people getting back into books.
So your whole point is not necessarily for the presumed value of said book, but the actual readership base and actually making sure that grows.
Yeah, because a new reader that starts off with one title will eventually become 3 titles, eventually become 5 titles, and that's a more long-term sustainable revenue stream.
Gotcha.
And a book will eventually go up in price on its own. Like, it might take a little while.
I mean, the one time I remember them doing something, along the lines of hey, buy this book, something big is happening, is
Right.
Cap 25. Like,
Yep.
They didn't say anything.
They didn't say what it was, but
They
they
didn't
did
say what it was,
give
but it was
heads
like,
up.
you may want to increase your orders. It was
Right.
like an email, like 2 or 3 weeks before it came out, of like, you may want to increase
Might
your
want to do
orders.
this. We're not going to tell you why, but
Yeah.
trust us.
And it was before the final order cutoff, so
Right.
we knew.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, Cap 25 is still
I mean, it's a high dollar.
$12,
Yeah, I was going to say it's high dollar
$12
item.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still sustained its value even
Right.
after Steve Rogers came back.
That's a good
So,
point. Maybe they're not bringing them back.
The thing is, they might. if
Yeah,
they,
right.
yeah, Bruce Wayne's coming out. But even if they didn't, fucking tell us. just say something is happening.
Especially when, okay, so Brian Truitt, who has written for About Comics for the USA Today, has done so for a while. We're talking second paragraph, second line, like really, it's right there. It says, first line, spoiler alert, the following report contains important plot points from the new issue of Batman, right? So the very next line is, writers are told to kill their darlings, and Batman writer Scott Snyder has buried a couple of his under tons of rubble beneath Gotham City, leaving them for dead. That's how he leads into this particular article. So yeah, that's, I mean, considering that they obviously gave such breaking information to USA Today,
But they couldn't.
They couldn't give it to you guys.
And
That sucks.
that's the part that just blows my mind. And for like trying to create like a buzz and it'll make these books go up in value. Fuck that. Because here's the thing: what money does DC make in the aftermarket?
Right? None.
It
None. That's all you.
behooves them to tell retailers, to tell USA Today also, and say, guess what? Buy double your amount. This is happening. People are going to come in.
It's not even that. Like I think if you want to, even add on to the buzz, is tell retailers 3 weeks in advance, like, hey, the FOC is in 2 days. Something big is happening in this book.
Account for it.
Then it's on us.
You've got reporters for like article writers for comic book resources.
Right.
Bleeding Cool.
Right.
They talk to retailers all the time. You don't think a retailer is going to be like, hey, we just got an email of
Something's
Batman
gonna
issue
happen.
40, something's going to happen. And that, and then they'll write the articles, and then people will go on.
Well, maybe that's why they didn't do it. Like, they're afraid that you guys are rats, that you guys are going to leak
Can't
it.
leak it.
But,
Yeah.
You're
but
gonna
well,
tell.
it's not even that. I mean, you don't have to say like Batman and Joker might be done,
Right.
Whatever. It's
Something is
something
happening.
is happening, and then build the buzz that way.
Right.
But then on top of USA Today,
Well, wait,
on top of-
like-
you know what I mean?
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, yesterday there was an article up on Comic Book Resources that was talking about, I think it was an interview with John Romita Jr., and they were talking about the new look that Superman is going to have. I think come next issue or the
41.
issue after.
Yeah, 41.
They somewhat allude to what the reveal was, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they kind of said it.
Well, it's in Divergence.
Oh,
So that, and then Divergence is kind of leaked out.
Divergence is after Convergence. Yes?
Divergence is DC's free comic book day book. And
Okay.
It's 8-page previews of Batman 41, Superman 41, and Wonder Woman 41.
Okay.
So
And this has
because
nothing
we
to do
got
with
them
the...
a week ago, some plot points of like who the new Batman is and what happens in Superman 41 are in Divergence. and
Got
it's
you.
kind of leaked out.
I was wondering how you guys
Already.
knew that yesterday, because they were like, yeah, we know who Chappie Bat is. And I'm like, wait, how'd you know that?
But the thing is, we got it after the final order cutoff.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
You ship the books a week earlier. You don't have to tell us
a-
because we're geeks. We've got the free comic books today. We're gonna read
You're
it.
going to read them. You are going to
Yeah.
read them. That's fair. That's fair.
So I read Divergence and I'm like, oh,
Interesting. Why did this happen?
I will double my orders.
But no, they didn't want the extra cash, man. They didn't want it.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, like
Like-
there have been people that have said that the powers that be at DC, aka Warner Brothers, don't give a crap about the comic book division. Is this not indicative of such practice? Like, maybe these are just...
I mean, maybe, but like at the same time, Marvel does the same stuff too.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, but do they do it as often, as big or impacting? Like, I mean, okay, not for nothing, but Death of Cap, huge. They told
Yeah.
you. This particular nuance of noir and mortness, without getting any sort of heads up, it seems like bad pull. When was, I mean, because we knew Deadpool was dying for how long?
Yeah.
We knew the end of the FF was coming
we
for...
knew 4 was going to be a girl.
Yeah, like we knew all of those
Yeah.
pieces well in advance.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the House of Ideas has cleaned up their act a lot and been
That is
like,
true.
"Hey, we got books to sell." But I mean, they also have. If you look at the entire platform, they have better movies as well. So they see that the whole things are tied together.
Yeah.
So, and all that. Wow.
I think it's just siloing. And what
It
I mean is
kinda,
that,
yeah.
that they'll try to work together
Right.
when they can, but even in their properties, there's no cohesion. I mean, because you have, you have the Flash, which is a popular show.
Right.
You have Gotham, which is a popular show, but they're
Two
not,
different companies.
But they're not trying to tie them together necessarily. I mean,
Yeah.
they are with Arrow or Green Arrow and
they already.
Flash.
It kind of boggles my mind that they're not including Arrow and Flash in the movie universe.
Well, I was gonna say they fucked the dog when they announced that they were gonna have a different Flash for the slated Flash movie. So we were 2 episodes in to the Flash TV show, and they announced that there's going to be a totally different actor for Flash. I mean, even Steven gave them crap about it from Arrow. He was like, "Why would you do that? Why would you totally undermine every ounce of confidence that you have in your current acting roster by saying, oh no, we'll have another one for the movie. We'll have a big boy doing the movies."
No, as soon as you announce that the television series actor is going to be Flash in the movies, now you've got people that may not be watching the series. They're going to
jump
like,
in.
I'm curious
Wait,
about this guy's
what
chops.
is this? Right, you know what I mean?
Oh wait, it's a different person.
We
learned nothing from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I mean, okay, but truth be told, they did that initially. I mean, look at when Superman Returns came out. We were still in the thralls of Smallville, and Tom Welling was not. I mean, but I think that's arguable where you could say, well, it was younger Clark. He hadn't been Superman yet, so that's why. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe that makes sense.
Or they could have chalked that up to a learning experience.
Right.
Much like, oh, there's a hot frying pan, I'll grab it. Oh, God, I burnt my hand. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to get an oven mitt, they reach with their other hand because I got a spare.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you've got a whole other hand. It could be something different. I don't know. I mean, the stranger is real. That's all I'm saying. I might have to pay for that one.
But what's even more kind of interesting though is for all that for all that DC's faults, from the good point on the retailer standpoint is that they're the only ones that will actually have co-op dollars to help market. So it just doesn't make it. See, it's just but
exactly.
Wait.
But then Marvel,
explain
who has,
co-op dollars. What's co-op dollars?
They will help. Well, do you want to go, Ryan? Go ahead.
Well, you're my ad exec.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
No, right,
person
he
to
just
speak on it.
he just looked like he was going to say something.
just write
it's
What's up, Puff Daddy? Right,
I
Diddy?
mean, the publisher will help with advertising costs of DC titles
Oh, wow.
to help.
Move their units.
Yes, and to defer the costs of the retailer having to just to
Generate stuff.
Yeah, or
That's-
to the expense. But then Marvel, who has a more cohesive overall marketing plan, does not offer any subsidies to their retailers.
Really?
Right.
So,
I mean, so again, you can say how messed up they are, but
Right.
at least they're not trying
Yeah.
to help
Well,
the
okay,
retailers.
okay. Well,
But-
what if? I mean, play devil's advocate on that one. Is that a statement that DC knows that they're screwing up by having such a disjointed marketing plan, as opposed to Marvel that says, okay, we're not necessarily giving you money to help market these things. We're going to do billion-dollar movie franchises, and that should just funnel people to you.
I can't.
But that doesn't funnel to that doesn't necessarily drill down to the local market.
That's true. That is
Okay,
true.
because-
it's Reaganism, isn't it?
No, it's just
Well, it's one
economics.
DC's been doing that for
years.
decades.
Yes.
I can't remember. It's been so long since that I can't remember when
They
when
stopped
it
or
started.
when they weren't doing it.
Yeah, so it's weird that DC does that and Marvel doesn't.
Interesting. Maybe that's part of their bankruptcy. They gotta be more in house than anything.
Maybe,
I don't know.
but
I don't know. I was reaching for that one.
yeah,
I'll admit it.
it's just strange because it is this huge dichotomy. I don't know if dichotomy is a bad word or not. Where you've got their aggressive marketing, and they've got ad scripts, they've got different stuff. Like even if you don't want to create your own thing, you can go on and be like, oh, do they have a Vertigo? I'll run the Vertigo thing.
Right.
Just insert whatever. And then they do with Batman, where they don't
And then
tell
they
you.
don't tell you anything. And you're like,
So
wait,
it's-
what?
Yeah, and that's what just doesn't make sense to me is because you've got.
Is it possible that this was somebody's job to do, and they failed, and consequently that person does not work at DC at this moment? I mean, maybe
no,
what
'cause
happened
this
was
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
well,
not. I mean, this isn't just.
This isn't a fluke. Oh well, crap. I was trying. I thought they just moved recently, so maybe Email got lost in the shuffle. It's on its way to Cali right now.
by
And
the
they're like,
way.
oops, I was supposed to push send and I didn't.
Crap.
It's still in my draft file.
I get a small company, like whoever's publishing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now.
I think it's IDW, right?
Them not saying something about the death
Right.
from issue 44. They're a smaller company. It generates buzz. They're issue 45 and their second prints were gonna they probably had more second print for number 44 ordered than
Right.
Than
Then
anything.
all of the books
Yeah.
combined, really.
And then they're following up by telling us right out with the G.I. Joe stuff about
Gotcha.
Snake Eyes.
Right.
So there appears to be a marketing plan there.
Gotcha.
I don't see one with
This,
with
I mean,
this.
no, it's Superman's getting a haircut. That's big deal. That is a big deal. This dude has had the S curl forever, and they are changing his iconic
They're
look.
adding more yellow to his outfit. Damn it!
Yes, like you've been asking
Let me
for the
borrow a
yellow. You want the yellow. Put the yellow in there.
Yeah.
He's now more relatable.
Yes, because he's yeller.
Yes.
Yeller. He's a yeller feller.
It appeals to the Germans. maybe
Maybe.
Mexicans.
I don't know. Somebody.
That felt bad.
That's
that felt-
put some more money in there, dude.
I don't
That
have
was
any.
racist.
I don't
That
have
was
any.
terrible.
I don't have any change.
Hold on, let me hook you up.
And to me, the biggest problem is the Batman was such a good story.
It was an excellent story, man.
So good.
That was a big one.
Huzzah!
Yeah, there we go.
Not a good person.
So, okay, speaking of DC's practices, okay, I just want to segue into this one. So, yesterday, Jerry Conway put up a blog post about how when a DC character is utilized in other media, the rules have changed for how the creators of said character can be, will be, might be compensated. So apparently under Paul Levitz, it was established that while people would argue over the rates that others would receive, it was pretty standard that if your character was going to appear in other media venture, they would cut you a check of some sort. After, very, very arguable on that one, absolutely. After Paul left, practice changed, where instead you had to do due diligence for yourself, find out that they were going to use it, and write in a request for payment of such said character. Like, you had to do it. You had to find out what they were doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's skeevy.
Yeah. That's
Why do you guys say skeevy? Why do you guys say skeevy?
How do you know?
Yeah. Like.
Well, I mean, they,
Well, that's a good point, because that's one of the things that he said was that they won't retroactively do it. So what I don't know is if your character pops up in an episode, they won't pay you for that episode. But if it looks like they'll be a recurring character, you can ask for that. I don't know if that's the case, or if they pop up in a series and you didn't know,
that's just-
and they're like, nope, he was already in Flash, you can't say nothing.
Yeah. For me, it's like. So like if you're watching The Flash,
Right.
and Impulse shows up,
Right.
like.
Does Wade and
Does Mark Wade just go?
write this.
You know, like I don't get it.
You don't get it?
I don't like it.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I have no problems with that whatsoever. And I'm a jerk. I'll admit it. I'm the man. I'm corporate. Sue me. I feel that if they, as a publisher, find a market outside of the one that you created for, like outside of comics, if they find a market for those characters, that's a lot of legwork, money spent, and all those things on their part. You, if you want to get any part of that money, should put in some work of your own to acknowledge that they've done so, and to request your end of it. For them to ask for you to put forth that much effort, I don't feel is a lot, because they're already working to do something else, as opposed to presenting it like, oh, I made this book for you, but you owe me if you take it to another medium. I don't like that concept. If they're the ones that are taking it to another medium, that's due diligence on their part unto itself. If you want a piece of that, you should have to still take part in contacting them, saying that you want it. It's like expecting that somebody's going to pay you. Like, would you expect anybody to pay you a bill that you didn't send them? Because I don't. Is that weird? Like if somebody doesn't invoice you, I would
Yeah.
not expect.
Yeah, and no.
But
It's one where it is now the way, unless I'm mistaken,
Right.
it is now set up to where the original creator of the character has to monitor all forms of media to see if one of their intellectual property. Well, I think whose intellectual property right is it? I think that's the biggest.
That is
thing.
a secondary aspect of this whole conversation that he brought up that I was going to get into.
Okay.
Yes, because he was notified that as the co-creator of Power Girl, she is now considered a derivative, and therefore he is no longer entitled to getting any sort of appearance payout for her. She's considered a derivative of Superman, a la Supergirl, ... And therefore, if she were to appear on The Flash or Gotham or whatever, he gets no moolah for that. Which, of course, he was like, that's ass-tastic.
Yeah, I would love to see that argued in court.
Well, it gets more interesting because this actually is occurring right now with Caitlin Snow. So Caitlin Snow on The Flash, love her, wonderful scientist. I did not realize who she, quote unquote, was. And it is a version of Killer Frost, which I didn't know. So the persons who created Caitlin Snow Killer Frost aren't entitled to any monies because she would be considered a derivative of the original Killer Frost. But Conway is one of the co-creators of the original Killer Frost, and he's not eligible for any monies for some reason. I can't remember what exactly he said it was, but it was a way that they are, like, I was following
so
it
you're not-
initially.
So you're not paying
Anybody.
anyone for Killer
No,
Frost now?
because basically no one owns Killer Frost, or no one created Killer Frost. The only aspect of it that I can possibly get behind, and this again is me, and this is the thing that gets me into trouble, and I apologize to everyone. When I say I'm a creator, I also have a very business structured mindset. So I get, as a creator, you have feelings about what you've created. I get that. Take that out of the equation because that's not the way this stuff works. It's not about what you feel, it's about what the business practice is. Which sucks. I know it sucks, but go into it with that mindset, it's a little different. If the work was done under work for hires, technically you don't have any claim to that. You can feel all you want to, but if you did it under work for hires, based on how we honestly would want the situation to work, that's a legit claim because DC as a corporation is counted as the author, but DC as a corporation is not a person, therefore no one, quote unquote, created that character. That's what we would want on a liberal sense of corporation use, but it does somewhat stick it to creatives in that way, in a very sincere fashion.
Well, now I'm kind of curious what they're going to do about Cisco Ramon then.
Oh, that is a good question.
Cisco.
Don't know.
it all. I think that it goes back to what your original deal was. So I mean, again, you have this information come out about how they're changing compensation necessarily,
Right.
but really it goes down to you as the originating creator. Like you said, is this a work for hire?
Right.
Okay. There's other examples outside of comics that this happens to all the time. I mean, like website design.
Right.
Okay. I mean, just because you made it, that you don't own Comic Town's website. I mean,
Website,
Comic Town
right.
owns their website.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but what was the original agreement?
Right.
So that piece we don't know. What was his original agreement with DC?
Right. Well, I would almost presume that based on the time period that he said that this takes place, which is like 69 to like 74 or 5 or something like that, I would guess that the practice of going into other medias was rare. Because, I mean, if you figure back then, I mean, what, you had Superman, George Reeve, maybe, the Fleischer cartoons had happened, maybe Wonder Woman, and the Batman had already happened.
Yeah.
So maybe Shazam, maybe? I mean, there wasn't that
wasn't there?
many.
There was like a Shazam TV show.
Yeah.
in the 70s, wasn't
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
But you had Hulk. You had Incredible Hulk.
I mean, for DC
Oh, for
specifically,
DC
for DC specifically, I don't think there were very many beyond that. So
Yeah.
No.
the outlets for anybody to get anything else, I think, was very rare. So this is definitely an evolved, sort of business venture,
So-
from what I could presume.
So then it goes though, but if you're saying for the creator to have personal responsibility, okay, I could agree with that if at the initial outset when they're making their agreements with the publisher, okay, but on the other end is that I don't think that it's fair for you to say that a creator has to monitor everything because there's no real way for them
to know.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to
once
say,
it
like,
already happens, then
right. Yeah, because that's why I'm
it's
hoping
tough.
that it's not like a grandfather thing. Like if a character shows up in an episode, then therefore they've been in the series, and therefore you can't ask for it. That would be messed up.
I don't like the idea of, like, let's say Power Girl shows up in an episode of Teen Titans,
Right.
and you
done.
see it, and you're like,
He gets nothing.
he gets nothing.
Nathan.
Or
Well, technically speaking,
You know
okay,
what I mean? Like-
one of the things that he said, and I joked about this yesterday, one of the things that he said is that with this letter stating that he was no longer going to receive compensation for her other media appearances, he was given a check for $1,000. Now, in this article, he also noted that he's created about approximately 500 different characters for DC. I, being my very me self, would have written a nice letter saying, I totally accept this agreement. I would like to extend it for every character that I've created. See this list
Here's a
here.
list.
I will gladly accept a payment of $1,000 per character that you account for on this list as accurately co-created by me. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yep.
That's $500,000 or
mean,
$500,000.
that's fine. Yeah,
I'm good.
that's-
Like
sure.
I feel like and this is where like the business guy in me comes in to play is I feel like rather than being upset, use it to your advantage. I mean, that's $500,000 that you possibly could get like that,
Yeah.
as opposed to piecemealing any sort of.
and you won't hear from me
You
again.
won't hear from me at all. Like we're done. Like this is like the anti-Gary Friedrich. Like like the opposite. Like hey, here's this, and I'm out. Ryan Seacrest, bitches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, coins. But from the other side, I mean, this is an older person,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at, I mean, yes, $500,000. If someone plopped $500,000 right in front of me right now, that's a lot of money.
Right.
$500,000 is not that much for a lifetime's worth of work.
True.
I mean,
However,
so that's
I mean,
my
but
other argument.
and that's where I think the issue is. There is the idea of valuing what you could get versus what you have. Like the idea of saying like I spent my life doing this. Right, that's not a lot of money. But versus the idea that you possibly could get nothing even still for your life's work. Well, then $500,000 is pretty good in my opinion. Like that's what I'm saying. Like just recognize that you are dealing with corporations and their job is not necessarily to take care of you. You have to take care of you. So,
but at least like ship a letter. Like we're this character that you created. You have ties to the intellectual property right for this character based on our contracts. It will be used in this. File the paperwork or done.
right. Like here's your deadline.
Yeah.
Here's a letter.
You've got this much time. I think that is probably better practices. Like I'm not even gonna like pretend like they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that if they don't do that,
Yeah.
rather than complain about them not doing that, be diligent about your end of it. And I can see it being fair of them saying, well, yes, this thing popped up. As long as it's not like, oh, it's been in the series, you can't ask for nothing else. If it looks like the character might come back, definitely. Like as long as they live through that episode, I'm writing a letter.
There's someone at Warner Brothers or DC that has that job.
They should. They
All
absolutely
right,
should.
we're going to use this character, this their character, and this character on this episode of Arrow.
Right. Who owns this? Call
Or
it.
just get away. Apparently, you can get away with it scot-free if you just do like a straight to Hulu series. Instead of having Deathstroke, we'll change his name to Death Rub. Switch the eye patch side. It's a derivative.
Make it
It's
green.
2 scoops. Yeah.
You can't touch me, guys.
But, not
couch.
yeah, just the last part then on this is then you think that that's why more creators are just trying to go independent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then independently,
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they'll broker a publishing deal. They don't tie themselves to,
Yes.
they're not going to
absolutely.
say, oh, okay, I'm a DC.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No. I mean, well, some do because I think at a certain level, some are paid very well to do that. But overall, yeah, I think that they're finding far more financial feasibility with being independent or at least creator owned than working for the big boys.
Yeah, because I read an article like Ed Brubaker did when he left Marvel. Like he's making more money on. I think he said he was making more money on like reprinting Criminal and Fatale than he ever did working on Captain America.
Right.
And I heard another big reason why he stopped and he just cut ties with Marvel was a lot to do with, I think, like how he felt he should be paid for Winter Soldier.
Right. And that's, I mean...
He was a good trooper during that time period, too.
Indeed.
Said everything right.
But, I mean, again, like I said, for me, I tote that line of being a publisher, creator, and so I get the notion of feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
But pushing for it as an expectation, no, I know not to do that.
I think we're past the time period where creators, they have the eureka moment, and they come up with this incredible characters and this incredible world and story arc that can revolve around them. They are no longer going to go to one of the big ones and say, here, can we shoehorn this into Superman or into Spider-Man? That's not going to happen anymore. They're going to go to Image, who's just like the temple of creativity right now. And then they don't care. They just want to publish good stuff.
Right.
And then the creators they're better protected.
Yeah, and I think it's like up to them to shop their property around.
And like I said, that's where it comes down to for me is in those situations. Now, if you want something more to happen, you have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Whereas the benefit that I see that the mainstream companies have is they have that relationship in place. They have those
distribution channels.
Yes, they've already got them. So it's a little wonky to me as a business person to look at it and say, well, I created this thing for you back here before you had that business line, but now that you've created it, now I want my piece. And it's like, well, hold on now. And it's like, well, you couldn't have done this without me. It's like, well, that's a very tricky thing to argue considering if, like, and this is where like I get really into trouble with people when I say this, is like, if your product was so pivotal, why didn't you create something else? Mm-hmm. Why didn't you create something in the interim that would last you or sustain you or would outmatch that earlier piece? Like, and nothing makes that more prominent or prevalent than the Image founders. Like, those guys were working on titles and they, almost all of them, created something a little similar to what they left behind. And look at what Image is. Yeah. So it's not to say like you can't do it. Hogwash, yes you can. You just have to be willing to nut up and put it out there. But not everyone does that.
Yeah, hogwash.
Oh, are you making fun of me for that one?
Take one out.
I get some money back for that one?
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Do we want to... One more topic?
One more topic? What do you got? What do you got?
Who
wants it? Who wants it? Somebody wants it.
I've done a lot of swearing.
I mean, you have done a lot of swearing. It was pretty good.
I mean, we got the Godzilla in Hell.
It is amazing.
Which just to me is funny as how that transpired. We had the debate earlier about power sets. Like, what is a power set versus what?
Well, let's do it. We can talk about that one. We didn't do that one on the air. This one I wasn't going to do because I was kind of out in a buddy of mine. But whatever, we'll put him on blast.
Yeah.
So the question was: is immortality a superpower? And my buddy was arguing that it is not. I say that it absolutely is. Roundtable, like where do you fall on that one, Ryan?
Personally, if we're using like your regular run-of-the-mill Homo sapien as your baseline,
right, and
how we perceive lifetimes and strength, and if you're getting shot by a bullet, it's gonna fucking hurt, you're gonna die. So immortality, that would be a power set because at best you're gonna live 100 years.
Right.
That's not immortal.
No, it's long, but it ain't it.
Yeah. So to me, definitely.
What about you, Tim?
I grabbed the swear jar account and see how much money was put in, and then the first thing I see are 3 bolts.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
We didn't put those in there. That was not us.
All right, I have a robot hook right there.
That's kinky. That's kinky.
I think it's a power, but to be cheesy, it's also a curse. I think it's power. And then I thought earlier when we were talking like, but Ra's al Ghul doesn't have it, and then you brought up the point of
Our Man,
because my thought process was because it's not like Ra's al Ghul, it's not like an actual superpower like Wolverine.
It's not an inherent ability.
It's not an inherent ability.
Right.
He gets it from taking a hot bath.
Rejuvenating in the spas. Yes.
Calgon,
Waters of Lake Minnetonka.
But then you brought up Hour Man, and then you brought up Iron Man, too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, you got me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, because those are each characters that either with Iron Man he ingests something in order to gain superpowers for a short amount of time. With Tony, he puts on technology that he did build. We'll give him that. But the power sets that he is most known for, the repulsor rays, the flight, the strength, all those things are actual attributes of the suit, not him.
Not him.
But still an attributable facet of his quote unquote superheroic. So I would definitely count that. What about you, Shelby? What are your
Power.
thoughts?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, of course it's power. Blah blah. Yeah, I mean it's an interesting idea. Like we were saying earlier, the question does come into play of your base nature. If you are of a different species where living forever is common, is that a sense of immortality, or is that a power? I think it's relative to who you encounter.
Yeah. If your baseline is like us, like a human being,
Right.
then for
Yes,
fuck's sake, it's a power.
that's absolutely wrong.
But yeah, if it's like an Asgardian, like, oh, you're from Asgard, are all of your people superpowered? Like, no, we just live that long.
Right, we just do.
Yeah.
But
Our average lifespan is 473 years.
right, and you're like, oh, okay,
Right,
that's cool, that's
right
cool,
on, right
right, got you. But I mean, even then, like amongst immortals, like if you look at vampires, vampires acknowledge themselves as immortal. So to them, that is something that they pass down purposefully as an attribute of being a vampire. So even in that sense, in context, I would still say that even if your species inherently does have immortality as a part of it, it is a power. You recognize that not everything else does that, because the only way that you would lose that mentality is if you were unaware that other things die.
Yeah.
And hard to see that immortal without a healthy diet of killing things and eating them does not have that idea, unless you're walking around saying, I'm immortal, and so are the things in my belly. Like that's you're immortal too because I added you to me.
Instead of taking blood for sustenance.
Right. They just put you in there. They're all fat bastards. You look like a baby.
Look like a baby.
So yes, that's a little Comic Town science for you right there. I think that's going to be it for us. I am calling this meeting adjourned. I'm Victor Dandridge.
Ryan Seymore.
Tim Winkle.
And Shelby.
And you guys have a good one.